Hello and welcome to another Unbound podcast for the Tell Great Stories series. Today we are discussing one of our pantomimes, The Snow Queen, which ran throughout December 2019. My name is Andy Shaw and I played Pigweed. And in the first half I'm talking to some of the goodies and then moving on to the baddies in the second half. First of all we have...
I'm Emily and I played Garrido.
I'm Andy and I played Compo the Gardener.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Hull and I played the shopkeeper who actually turned out to be Mother Nature.
Ooh. This is a question to everybody. Do you have a particular memory that sticks out to you during the rehearsal process?
I think getting to know the people. I mean, this was, I believe it was my third Unbound production at this time, but I'd only done my first production back in June. So there was a lot of people I hadn't met yet. So I was obviously really nervous and shy, but honestly, it's such a long rehearsal period. Just getting to know people. By the end, I felt like I'd known them for such a long time. I mean, people like Alice and Jade, who played some of the bugs, and obviously, I felt very kind of protective of them, being the shopkeeper, and they're my bugs. But yeah, and also seeing Micky again. I mean, I met Micky back in college, which was like 10 years ago now. And so it was really nice to see her again and kind of catch up and you know, form this close friendship again. So,
I'll join that as well because I knew Micky from school. So I really get that stuff, the whole old friends, new friends. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's great
Definitely.
to have a familiar face as well, particularly when you're going somewhere new, and to have that surprise it's kind of a comfort, isn't it, really, to see somebody that knows you, that you can have a bit of a rapport already with when you don't know anybody else. I think it really does help.
But also when new people come in, you're so proud of Unbound and you know how good the panto will be.
Yeah.
You know it'll be amazing and you're just so excited when new people come into that audition because you're like, you are going to have a great time. This will be amazing, because it's that real pride of Unbound and that excitement at new people coming into it, because every new person grows what we have, which is phenomenal. It's exciting.
It is, yeah. Cool. Okay, and then the same question to Andy Faber. So, your particular memory that sticks out from the rehearsal process.
Gosh, well, actually, I'd listen to you guys talking. Actually, I'd echo very much that chance to meet everybody and bond with everyone. It's absolutely lovely, and every single time you start on any production, that's lovely. I love that, and especially something with panto. There's just a big kid. I adore panto, but I adore the people in it because it takes a special kind of energy and a special kind of love for performing, and it's just one of I do remember. Gosh, I think it was in Act 2 where there was a bit where we all had to go. You know, where we had to go around in that circle. You know that bit where gosh, that was I did his spell, didn't he?
The maelstrom.
That's the maelstrom. I remember that, and I remembered somehow. I know it wasn't difficult, but I remember getting that wrong. In fact, all the time it was rehearsed, I got it wrong. I get it right on the night because it made sense to me on the night, and we did it and did it and did it. And the more we did it, the more confused I got. Which is,
I remember being really dizzy after we rehearsed it like 3 times in a row, and I just plonked myself on the floor and was like, "This is where I am."
I was always trying to contrive just doing a little circle on my own, but no, I had to go around with everybody else. It wasn't brilliant, and I remember I didn't so much run as I kind of hung on to things and sort of stood there in my wellies and just looked a bit vague. I think that's probably my best. I just acted my way through it.
I just love the fact we needed almost an entire afternoon to practice us all going round in a circle.
We were literally going in circles on it, weren't we?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so a question for Emily. Panto is a month-long run. How is it to play a character for multiple shows, and do you find your character evolves over that time?
I love having a month-long run because you get so settled, but not at the same time. So by the time we're performing, I know Gerda well, but it also depends on what other people throw at you as such. So if someone does a line differently, Gerda's going to react differently. Like, there's the bit where Kai goes under the Snow Queen spell, and playing Gerda's heartbreak about him being angry at her would change depending on how he acted that scene, because Gerda's reacting to him. So she's always heartbroken, but the way she would be heartbroken would change, which I love. That's one of my favourite things about acting is, and especially when you have something that long, you can really have fun and play and do things different every night. She does evolve in certain ways, like you notice little things about her and I'd be like, oh, she's always perky at this moment and there's always this. So you learn more about her, which sounds weird because you're creating her.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not creating her. That she was created by amazing writers. I'm taking her off the pages. But you still learn about your character even on the last night. And you've been doing this since September, which is truly wonderful.
Yeah. Yes, it's the little embellishments that you have the license to throw in, I think, and it sort of builds up the tapestry of the character. And Steph, did you want to weigh in on that question as well?
Yeah, I've got more of kind of like a personal kind of evolving time during the show. I'd say I was so nervous. I'd never done a panto before, and Emily, as she said, has done 4. So I just felt this support like radiating from Emily on stage whenever we were on together. Like little moments, like when we go off to fetch a watering can, she would turn to me and she'd be like, "You're doing really great," and that would be really helpful to me. And then especially the Yeti scene is the first time that I've ever interacted with an audience, so I was super nervous about that.
Right.
And Emily and I, would be like, "Gerda, shopkeeper," and then like we'd hold hands, and it was funny because we held hands just a tinsy bit longer as the show progressed. And it was just really sweet to have, obviously I've got a special connection with Emily. We're very good friends. But to have that connection between the two characters as well, and to see that evolve during the show was really nice.
Yeah. But you're right, it's that chemistry, isn't it, that when you bond with the people in real life, then it shines through in the show as well. It makes such a massive difference.
It's like trying to remember that Micky and Alicia and Filipa and John are all bad guys when actually you adore them.
Yeah.
And you're like, I love you so much, but you're not very nice.
Fantastic. Okay, a question for everybody again, and we'll start with Andy Faber, shall we? Do you have a favourite scene or a favourite line?
Oh gosh, I have to admit that's the reason that's hard is because my number one thing in panto is just playing with the audience. It sounds so silly, but my actual favourite bit was the very beginning when you get to go down and just start them all off. I just love that. Absolutely love it. What I always do, being a boring old person that's done it for many years, I always add a bit of a something. And I put a stupid gag in that there was always somebody in the way, because there always was someone in the way as you come down the stairs. And I used to always look forward to that because often people would take it very personally. I think I upset a couple of people. Sometimes the joke falls flat, so you don't do it. But I always just think, are they going to be loud? Are they going to? There's always this sort of. The minute you get there, you're down the steps. By the time you get to the stage, you've got them all, and it's just that lovely moment, that lovely warm feeling. You got onto the stage and you're home. It's brilliant. I just love it. Yeah, that's my favourite bit. That was for me was the beginning, definitely.
You must feel like kind of the excitement from the audience, Andy.
Yeah.
Like, because you're like the very first thing they see in these kids. Like, panto is
Yeah.
is the first for some kids, the first kind of theatre experience that they have. So you know, they're obviously very excited, and then there you are. Yeah,
It's such an honour
It really is.
to take kids, the ones that is their first, and also any audience member, it's an honour to show them the show.
Exactly. Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, and but once you've got that bond, it stays. I mean, with the character like Compo, of course, he's back on and off and on and off, and it's actually very well written because it's very well spaced. Sometimes it isn't always in that kind of thing, but when it's nicely and evenly spaced like that, you get to sort of really keep them going and keep them whipped up and keep them happy. But also my second favourite bit was actually the Marrow song at the end.
Oh.
It was just the silliest, most brilliant piece of thing. It was just to fill time, wasn't it? Well, they set the scene, and all that sort of the competition between the side.
Yes.
You went to sleep while my side were doing all that sort of stuff, and it was I love that.
I love the whole playing around. Yeah, is that's what's that, friendly banter almost kind of between us. Yeah, I love closing the shows like that. It was brilliant.
my favourite scene and line are actually the say at the same part. So I really like Compo, Gerda, and the shopkeeper. We're at the top and we run down the rake, like the stairs in between the audience, and I mean, it was trying to find the right timing to get to start running down the stairs and then to get to the front. But I just loved like my favorite line was when you're all happy to see each other and you're like Compo, Pigweed, Gerda, Kai, and then I'm just like shopkeeper.
Yeah.
And there's just this awkward silence where you're looking at me. And there was one show where the audience went "Aw" and clapped.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yes.
Thank you for including me. But yeah, that was definitely my favourite moment.
It's
Nice.
because that's a fantastic joke, and the thing is, we've got fantastic writers that you're like every night different lines become your favourite.
Yeah.
And you know, when you read it, you're like, this is so funny. I say that as if I get half the jokes. I don't get half of them till I'm on stage, and then I'm like, oh, that is funny.
Yes.
But like, it's really truly brilliant writing in the way that it allows the audience to love different moments, and every night they love something, I love it.
Cool. Okay, so Andy, question for you. You had a lot of audience interaction, as we spoke about earlier. Did anything go wrong, or did you hear anything strange or funny?
Well, yeah, that's the great thing about it, because you just never know what the heck they're going to do. And I've been lucky enough, I've done panto for about 30 years, literally. And every single time it's different. But there was one kid, I was trying to think, one of the early matinees, there was there's a brother and a sister in the front row. And they were always, I was looking for Pigweed. Anyone seen Pigweed? And the little girl stood up and she said, yeah, he's gone that way, but he doesn't love you anymore. He doesn't want to see you. He doesn't want to see you. Yeah, said the boy, he hates you. And he told the reason that Pigweed didn't want to see me, because this was going to happen and that was going to happen. And whilst I was up there, the Snow Queen put something in his he sort of, and in the end, I said, well, that's good. You've just told the audience the whole story now, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, we might as well not do it now, because you've said it all, haven't you? You've said it all. And he got a round of applause. I thought that was brilliant.
Okay. And yeah, generally everybody, did anything ever go wrong on stage, however big or small?
We were chatting about this earlier, discussing little things, and I suddenly remembered that one night the curtain went up and we weren't ready. We were all in the dressing room. And it was the second act, and I'm supposed to go down the stairs with Chris, Chris, Andy, Faber, Compo, and Steve. We're all supposed to go down the stairs. Oh, Steph, were you there too? I can't remember.
No, I wasn't. No,
Not this
the top
bit,
of
not
Act
this bit.
2, no.
and the curtain went up. And I remember being in the dressing room, having a sip of my drink, going, the curtain's up. The curtain's up. I'm supposed to be on stage. And I had to like run. And suddenly I was like, no one else knows. No one else knows. It's just me and Chris. It's just me and Chris. And the thing is, everyone else is quite vital. So I remember going down the stairs being like, hi, boys and girls. Has anyone seen Old Father Time? Because we can hear what's happening on stage. So I'm like, if I keep saying his name, he'll turn up. And he turned up and it was fine. So that happened. But there was also a moment where I sneezed and I was supposed to be frozen. So the Snow Queen has frozen me, and Gerd is able to move like a little bit. She's able to move her eyes because she's got to look really sad with her eyes anyway. And I'm frozen and I can feel this sneeze building. And anyone who knows me knows my sneezes are weird and they are loud.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my idiosyncrasies. And I remember being like, I'm going to do it. And I'm trying everything I can. I'm looking in the lights and all sorts. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. What I can do is I can play it off as a joke. I can sneeze and freeze in a different position.
Sneeze and freeze. There's a good phrase.
Sneeze and freeze. That didn't happen. What happened is I tried to stop it for so long, it literally forced its way out of me and I shot backwards. I genuinely go back a few steps because I've been trying to hold it. And suddenly there's like this massive pressure in my nose and I just go, oh God. And I sneeze and I fly backwards. And I can feel like everyone laughing on stage, but Filipa's beautiful and she just doesn't even look at me. She just goes, bless you.
I think the only thing I could think of, well, there's a couple of things I could think of that went wrong, and one being the maelstrom where I think it was Kai, thinking about it now, I think it was Kai, where spinning around and he accidentally looped the ribbon for the shard, which I'm supposed to keep by the end of Maelstrom, onto his arm. So I think it was him where I had to suddenly improvise a different Maelstrom sequence, go and grab it off of him and get into position ready. So that was, I think we recovered that one okay, but not really sure. But the other thing I could think of was one of the early shows, again, me and Kai, were setting up for the next scene. So there'd been a front of curtain scene and we were setting up. And we got the timing completely wrong. The curtains were opening as we're still setting up. And we must have looked like rabbits in a headlight or something, because we just kind of looked, went, oh, and run. And then we just like literally jumped over the scenery, over the ice scenery, jumped over and hid. And then we're just like in fits of laughter, really. Crawled off stage and then we're sort of laughing about it, trying not to be loud because, you know, there's still scenes going on. And Steve told us off quite rightly. So just... Fantastic. Was there anything else that went wrong on stage? Anyone? Any more anecdotes on that front?
I was actually I feel I was quite lucky. The only thing that I can think of was there was one show towards the end of the run, and when I come on and I'm revealed as Mother Nature, I have this lovely long cloak on that makes me feel like I'm at Hogwarts, like it was huge and the sleeves were huge. And so I had to, during the Song of the Seasons, I had to kneel down and I'm, working my magic on this little plant and bringing it back to life. And I always in my head thought, I'm going to trip on this cloak when I have to stand back up. Like, oh my God, like, trying to work out how to stand up without falling flat on my face. And it always worked out absolutely fine. And then the one show where I tripped and nearly fell flat on my face and I could hear the audience laughing at it was the show that was being recorded. So that was fun.
So this is a question for everybody. What was your ultimate favourite memory from the whole experience, from rehearsals right through to closing night?
As you're going through the show, you're like, oh, that'll be my favourite moment. And then the next show you do, you're like, that'll be my favourite moment. That's my favourite moment. And you just sort of go through thinking every moment's your favourite moment because it is. It's like, there's also these wonderful moments backstage you have. I think we've only really talked about on stage, but there's such a fun atmosphere in that dressing room.
There was two moments that literally every single show. The one was just before my first scene. So I'm already on stage, and there's some people on stage because they do like a set change. And so we're on stage listening to Filipa sing her lovely song. She's a beautiful voice.
So good.
And Alice and I, because I'm always like, I was always really nervous, obviously, that first moment on stage. And Alice and I would just like be dancing and like miming to each other, and so it was just really nice to have that moment just before going on. And the other one was at the beginning of It's Only What's Inside That Really Counts. We're in the wings and we start singing before we go on stage, I believe. But the first bit that Steve sings on his own, Gareth and I were in the wings, and we would be acting that out as well, and we'd be doing it really over the top and really like dramatic, and it would just evolve with every show. And the dancers who were lining up to get ready to go on stage would just be looking at us like, "You're mad! What are you doing?" Yeah. So it's just those moments.
Andy, have you done a favourite ultimate memory?
Oh gosh, it's a hard one because there's just so many. One of my very favourite ones, actually, when you and I first did the fight, your quarterstaffs, because suddenly it just clicked, and you feel the whole audience. Oh my God! Oh, there's a fight! Oh, it's just that lovely moment of adrenaline, and you did it perfectly every single time. We worked it all out in the back room, and you could feel everyone just bang, and I really enjoyed that. But also another very quick backstage one, your ginger beers.
Oh my God, I forgot.
Yes.
Oh, you gave Dario a theme for each ginger beer, and he even made costumes, didn't he, for the.
It got more and more elaborate as it went along. Yeah. I can't remember how it started now, but I think, did I write it upside down or backwards? I can't remember.
You had to write down, didn't you, whatever you wanted. You said, like, a lush ginger beer, a cold ginger beer, a nice ginger beer, a sort of a fairy-like ginger beer. Remember you kept all the bottles on the side?
Yeah, I wonder if they're still there.
One of them was French.
Yeah. There was the anagram one where it came out in loads of different glasses, each one with a different letter of ginger beer. And I drank them in the order that they were, that I'd written them.
Yeah, you must have spent ages doing that.
It's brilliant. Yeah, things like that, little touches like that, really makes you feel like part of it. You're certainly in the family, and it does sort of G you up, and it just does wonders, really. I think all of these silly little things that we do, all our funny rituals, all of the just stupidity that goes on backstage, it really does help to knit us together, I think.
Selfies and stupidity.
And now for the second half of the Snow Queen Tell Great Stories podcast, in which we get to hear from the baddies. And they are...
My name is Filipa, and I was the Snow Queen.
My name's Alicia, and I played Frost.
And my name's Micky, and I played Hail.
Welcome, baddies. Okay, so to start off with, a question for Filipa.
Oh.
No pressure.
No pressure.
How did you feel when you got the part of the Snow Queen, and how did you prepare for bringing this character to life?
So I auditioned, and I thought, let's just fingers crossed I get a part. Anyway, on Monday I was at work, and at lunchtime I was just checking my phone, and then I realised there was an email from the lovely Hannah, which was our director, and from Dario as well, and then I just could not believe it. I could not believe that I was cast as the Snow Queen. I really didn't, and I'll be honest with you. So when I found out that I had the part, I was just over the moon, but also very scared because it was a very big part, and I knew that I had to work a lot on this character. So it was a huge challenge, because she needed, she was completely different from me. First of all, she was a baddie, which is the opposite of me anyway. So thankfully, the year before, which was my first year with that I did a panto with Unbound, I was also a baddie. So that experience itself kind of helped me bringing the baddie again. So, so that was really good. So just to have, by having that experience, then, kind of going into a different year with a different character, you can bring things out of it. But also, this character had, I had to work on the posture, the mannerisms, the way she spoke, the way she walked. Also because my character had a huge dress. It had a huge big dress, which was actually a wedding dress that someone kindly donated to the centre, and the beautiful Elaine just added things to it, and it just made it even more spectacular than it was. But it was a very big dress, so the dress itself had a huge presence, so I needed for my character to have a huge presence as well. So, it was a slow process, but I feel that, as the rehearsals were going on, it was great because, the character itself was coming up, was coming to life. But it wasn't until I actually was on stage and I had the dress on and the shoes on and the wig on that finally just kind of like synced in just how special this character was. I knew she was special, but at that stage, it just had a totally different feel to it. And it was just an amazing character to play. So I was really privileged that, I was given this chance to, to do this character, and also to work with the amazing Alicia and the amazing Micky my, as my friends next to me. So it was just an amazing experience, and, and as they said before in the first part that, it was just so good because it was just like people that I acted before with people that I didn't act before, and it was just beautiful, like how the whole panto just come together. So it was just wonderful.
Good. Yeah, it's very it's impressive how very different the characters are to you as a person, like getting to know you through acting and in real life, whatever real life is, just seeing how you can turn into these wonderfully villainous characters.
Thank you.
How do you feel about being baddies? Are you yearning to be a goodie next time, or would you do another baddie?
Well, to be honest, I love being a baddie, and I have done goodies before in a different panto. So this was my fourth panto that I've done, throughout the years that I've been acting. And my first panto was actually Aladdin, and I was Aladdin. Okay. So Aladdin was a really good character to do. I was also directed by Hannah on that panto. So I had experienced both sides. So I have been a goodie and I have been a baddie. So I can't really choose which one. I just think they're just amazing characters to bring to. I think it's just amazing, you're seeing, words written, you get a script, and then all of a sudden you then see the character come to life, either if it's a baddie or a goodie. I think it's just wonderful. So to be honest, I just love being in panto, so it doesn't matter if it's a goodie or a baddie. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, now moving on to your what do we call them? Sidekicks. Not sure. Bothersome too. So we've got the wonderful Micky and Alicia.
Hello.
Whose characters I absolutely loved, actually. How was it to play a character as part of a dynamic duo, and how much did your characters and their relationship change from beginning to end?
Well, to be fair, it was at the beginning. Me and Micky had never really met each other before. Like, we met each other at the audition and stuff, so which was absolutely great. And I thought we got on really, really well.
For 4 weeks, I didn't like her, so it's fine.
But I feel like it really helped build our characters because we got on so well, outside anyway. So, and because of that, it made our characters build stronger, and throughout the whole show it just got better and better and better because we got to know each other more and more and more, and it just made it better and more funny. And it was great. And how the relationship changed with my character, I feel like whenever the Snow Queen was mean and angry, you know, her me and Micky, Frost and Hail, we were also mean and angry and stuff. But then, so we kind of mimicked what the Snow Queen was feeling and stuff. But my character Frost just wanted to get a job done. So whenever the Snow Queen gave us a job to do, we were, my character was all about, we've got to get this job done. But all Hail wanted to do was tell a joke. Throughout the whole show, she always wanted to do is tell this joke. Didn't really care about the job at all. It was all about, oh, Frost, can I tell this joke now? And I'm like, okay, fine. So, but yeah, that's how I think it went. But it was brilliant throughout the whole thing.
Fantastic.
I mean, I quite like having someone to play off. And I think we're quite lucky that both Alicia and I are the kind of people that will go yes and instead of block ideas. So it makes it a lot easier to work with. And we're sort of became really, really in sync. And I think that is still the case down the line in real life.
Excellent.
We just remained that way. What was the second part of the question?
How much did your characters and their relationship change from beginning to end?
To be honest, I don't think our characters went on as big a life journey as a lot of the other characters in the show. But I think, especially in that last scene where everyone runs around in circles, the maelstrom scene, I think that's when we realised that it's okay to be a baddie, but also be a goodie at the same time, that there's good and bad in everybody.
Yeah.
So I think there was a realisation in that scene at the end, and I would say that was the pinnacle point, because normally, it's quite clever really, because normally characters would tend to go on a journey throughout the whole piece, but actually we went on a journey right at the end. So ours was a little bit different.
Yeah, I think your characters seem to come together very quickly, and I think if I'd walked in, I don't know, several weeks into the rehearsal, I would have had no idea that you two had never met before. Anything.
Yeah.
You seem to be...
I think we bonded one Sunday when it was lunch break, and we both sat there like, we don't want to talk to people today. So we literally just sat next to each other and ate our lunch in silence. And at that point I was like, she's going to be my friend.
It was just a very busy day, and because we rehearsed for hours some days, didn't we? And it just got to lunchtime, and I was like, I need a break, I need quiet. And we just went and sat on our own and had lunch, and it was lovely.
Yeah, it was so good. And then we were like, oh, I think we could be friends.
I like you now.
Yeah, I was like, this is my friend.
We have lunch together, so it's all good.
She's my friend now. I like her.
Brilliant. Okay, so this is a question for everybody, and we'll start with Filipa. Do you have a favourite scene or a favourite line?
As I said, the whole panto was just amazing. There's a lot of amazing lines in it. The whole thing is just fantastic. And the scenes itself, they all have a meaning anyway. But I really like that the Snow Queen, as baddie as she then turns good. And I think that's, really clever from the writers to do it, make it a character that was just so mean to start with, literally, even to Frost and Hail. I'm so sorry, girls, but she was really, really mean. And then all of a sudden, she then realizes that there is good in the world, that she's been hiding from the world to a certain extent, and just not wanting to know, that was good. All she knew was that reality, and then, it kind of just brings it to our reality at the moment, isn't it, as well, with everything that is going on, that, people are people, and then sometimes if someone just gives them a hand, that can just transform their lives, even if it's a job, if it's a kind word, someone just checking on them, just anything like that can just make a change on someone's life. And then I just really think that all the scenes were fantastic, but I just really like that when the Snow Queen then just realizes that she was, she could be good. And, when Frost and Hail just turn to her and say, you're not that bad, we like you, it's just she then realizes, it goes oh, Oh,
Yeah,
okay. and it was just lovely, that to have that interaction.
Yeah.
And so I would say that, from the show, I really like that, that someone can just turn around and just, and start being good and being kind. And that's really important these days anyway.
Yeah.
To be kind anyway.
More now than ever, I think. Yeah, but that was
Definitely.
a very heartwarming part of the show. I think. And which character was it that turned you from evil to good?
I don't know. I can't remember actually. It was such a long time ago. It was such a long time ago. No, it was it was a lot of people together.
It was a team effort.
Pigweed started, but then the girls continue, and then Gerda. So it was like an effort.
Yeah,
but
it really was.
So that was a good question. Very true.
Nicely handled. Okay. So, same question to Alicia, please. Your favourite scene or favourite line, or both?
Okay, so my favourite scene, and I don't think I've actually told many people this. Micky definitely knows, but it's one I've kept to myself because it just cracks me up so much.
I'm sitting there thinking, do I know?
It's so okay. So I'll explain it. So there's this one scene where Compo's already on stage, and me and Micky, Frost and Hale, we walk onto the stage, and we walk into what it's meant to be a shop, and it's somewhere where we're not meant to be. And Compo sees us and he's like, oh, do you work here? Clearly we didn't work there, but we just went along with it like, oh, yeah. And he asks us to help him with some supplies and offers us money in exchange. So we see money and we're like, oh, yeah, money, we'll help you. So after we get all these supplies for him, put it in a box and give it to him, I ask him what he needs these supplies for. And then he pulls me and Micky, Frost and Hale in closer to tell us the secret. And as he's doing that, he's checking if the coast is clear. And so we're looking around really sneakily. And throughout all the shows we did, there was one thing I didn't realise Micky did. And it was like the second to last show, I think it was. And there was a bit where Micky's holding my shoulder as she's looking around the corner. And a bit I didn't realise she does is she looks under her shoe. and it got me because I don't know how I didn't realise every time, but I looked at her because I think she almost fell over, so she leant to me a little bit more. Yeah, I think you leant to me a little bit more.
It was deliberately something that didn't make sense.
Looking around me, I look at Micky, who's Hale, and I just see Hale looking under the shoe, and I had to contain myself. I wanted to burst out laughing so much because it wasn't in the script and it was just something so random. And as we've come off stage, I ran to the dressing room and I burst out laughing. And I said to Micky, have you been doing that every single show? She's gone, yeah, how did you not know? So that was my favourite scene of all time. It was absolutely brilliant and it still cracks me up to this day every time I think about it.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's back to what we were saying earlier about these tiny little embellishments that we put into our characters. And I was completely unaware of that until now. And that is hilarious. Brilliant. Okay, so Micky then, other than peering under your own shoe, what was your favourite scene or favourite line?
Line's difficult, so I'll go for scene. It was just in the beginning of Act 2, and it was the pieing scene. I absolutely loved doing that. I don't think Alicia loved it as much. I loved it because it was a good challenge every time because we had to come on and be completely deadpan, and I always wanted to laugh. And I was like, I will not laugh. And it always got harder every time the audience laughed more and more because they never didn't laugh. And something that I used to enjoy doing was I used to try and get in there and set up the pies before Alicia because we had a habit of picking the same pie as each show. Yeah. So I'd always put more shaving cream on her plates and give me less. So my pies would be nice and she'd get really pied. And sometimes just for fun, I'd squish it into her face a little bit more and I'd really I find that really funny.
Amazing.
It was always a race to see who could set the pies up first and put them in a certain place. So when we go to collect it, it was like, damn, she got the bigger pie with the most shaving cream.
Yeah,
You know?
sometimes I get there and they're like, I'll set up the pies. And she's like, no worries, I've already done it. And I was like, oh, this is a problem. I think mostly me and Alicia, I don't know if anyone else ever did this, but I, for one, used to sort of, on certain evenings, if I was feeling naughty, I'd try and play a little game with myself to see if I could do something different that Alicia wasn't used to me doing, to see how well she wouldn't laugh at me. Because by this point in our friendship, we had a tendency to just make each other laugh at everything. So we would do it for fun.
Okay, so that was favourite scenes, but what about things that go wrong? Did anything ever go wrong during the show? And actually, I'm going to start with this one because the pies have just reminded me. I believe I'm pretty sure it's during a show, but you missed my face in one of the shows.
Yeah, I missed your face. It was so embarrassing.
So I had to pick up the pie and pie myself.
Yes, I remember that. That was brilliant.
Oh, it's so bad. I literally got your nose, the tip of your nose. You just looked at me like, excuse me.
I'll just do
I forgot about that.
That was a really good one. I remember that one. It was really good.
It just graced my nose. It's just a tiny bit of foam on the end of my nose. And I thought,
do you know how difficult it was to pretend trip and smack you in the face, and you're so tall and I'm so short. Oh dear.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
Amazing. So I think that was my favourite going wrong bit. But what about yours? What went wrong for you?
Oh, all the things. No, I'm joking.
Come on, Micky, give us a couple.
Okay, let me tell you about the first night. I got sort of mentioned at the beginning, in the first part of this podcast. So we had a couple of delays on costume because it turns out that Frost and Hell had quite a lot of costume changes and lots of extra things we needed. So some of our costume we didn't get until the night for one of our scenes where we had to dress up as Yetis. These Yetis were made from really fluffy blankets and had like gorilla Yeti sort of masks. And this is after a quick change from being covered in pie. So it's all sticky and grim. And I just stuck this Yeti thing on my head. And because I'd never worn it before, I didn't realise that you can't actually see very well. And this Yeti costume leads up to the It's Behind You scene. And there are two bits of side sort of set that we have to run opposite the stage to each other and hide behind and do it again. And obviously you've got the rule of 3, you do it 3 times and then ta-da, we're there. But so I ran across to the other side, and because I couldn't really see, I thought I'd got behind, that I was in the right area to duck down behind this piece of set. But what I didn't realise was that I was on top of the set, so I just sort of fell over it and face planted the floor. And you could just see like my body lying like a little sausage on the floor. But because it was really funny, and I was laughing under my mask, and you probably just saw my body just sort of shaking a little bit.
I remember.
And then they all
so
turned
well.
around, and that was when they were like, she is there. We can't really see her, but she's there. And then you just see me really slowly just dragging myself into the corner. So that went wrong, and I was like, oh
being
dear.
on the other side, because I was on the other side of the stage behind another piece of set, and I just was watching you scraping yourself along the floor to get behind the set, and I was
It was a
just
really awkward slow
wetting
motion as
myself, thinking, "Oh, she messed up. She messed up big time."
I was like, I stacked it. I fell over all the set. So that was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
one
for
of
sure.
many.
One of other things that take place. But what would be it wouldn't be fun if these little things didn't happen.
Absolutely. This is
Because we're only human. These things,
Yeah, this is
it's
what the
part of
audience
fun,
come to
isn't
see. They come to see us messing
Exactly.
up more than anything else.
they love it. They literally love it.
Okay, and how about you, Alicia? What went wrong for you?
Oh gosh. Wow. Well, to be fair, going back to the playing scenes, I think because me and Micky squirted so much shaving foam, whenever we did hit each other, foaming all over the floor, and I think Hannah told us a few times, don't put too much shaving foam on the plates, and we were like, no, we won't. So it just went all over the floor. So it was like really quick. We had to just quickly wipe it, and then run, backstage again.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was quite a few times where me and Micky were backstage and we were like, do we have to go on now? And it was like sometimes we panicked, It was just that you do naturally panic, don't you? You think you missed your scene or whatnot. But yeah, and just this again with the pieing you in the face, Andy, just went completely wrong, didn't it? And yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so Micky and Alicia, Frost and Hail.
Ooh.
What was it like backstage and in the wings for you?
Well, backstage, there are a few things I absolutely loved about backstage. One of them, there was a scene where Alice, who plays a million different bugs, came in with all the food and was like eating and all of that, and then she does the burp. So the two things about that. We'd come off we'd just come off doing a scene, and I'd literally turn around, and every time Alice is just there with a pillow up her stomach, just with all the food from the green room, just eating it, and I'm like, this is great.
I was going to say the exact same thing, Micky, because it's just so funny, and all I remember is seeing all this food on the table where we get changed, and then
I'm like, hang on, I was going to have one of those, but obviously not, because she'd taken it on stage.
And she played the tummy bug, wasn't it? It was the tummy.
That's it. It was the tummy bug.
Tummy bug.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. And
then Emily would just walk on by and casually do a massive loud burp on cue, and we'd all be like, congratulations, like obviously silently, and then she'd look very proud of herself, and then off she goes. And then, because that was meant to be like Alice's cue for burping, but Alice can't burp on cue, so we'd get someone in the wings to do it. So funny.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so moving on to the last question I'll ask you all, and then you are free to go and do your evil deeds as normal. What was your favourite ultimate memory from the whole experience, from rehearsals right through to closing night? We'll start with Alicia, please.
Well, before every show, it was just like a routine that I used to do. Like Emily, who played Garrido, used to ask me, "Oh, Alicia, can you French pat my hair and stuff like that?" So I used to do that for her before every show. And then Micky, who played Hale, said, "Oh, can you do my makeup and stuff?" As well as I used to do my own. And me and Micky covered ourselves with glitter, with so much
and
glitter.
Blue.
And it was the funnest bit. I was like, I'm going to get so many spots, but it's worth it, I'm just going to cover myself with blue glitter all over my face, because we had to look like icy and cold and, that sort of thing. So I think that was really fun doing, but it wasn't fun taking it off.
No, I bet.
It was a nightmare taking it off. At least I think 5 wet wipes taking it off. It was, it went everywhere.
Okay, and how about you, Micky? Your ultimate favourite memory from the whole thing?
I think that's tricky, because everything was enjoyable. Even the bits that were a challenge were enjoyable. I think putting it into perspective for the world that we're in at the moment, that was the last piece of actual theatre I got the chance to do. I was rehearsing for other things, but it obviously has all been cancelled and things are still stuck in the pipeline, little filming projects and stuff. So this thing that we did, I kind of hold on to it a lot, because it's the most purest form that when life was normal for us. And it was like, when I'm on stage and I'm working with people like that and living in that space, I normally feel like the most alive. So I try and hold on to that. So I love the whole thing, really. And the people are lovely.
Yeah, they're all right, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, not so bad yourself, are you, really, Andy?
I do all right. Yeah, it's just like family, isn't it, really? It's like a little family.
It is definitely family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then finally, the same question to our lovely Snow Queen.
Oh, it's a mean laugh.
I'm just following just what Micky and Alicia was saying, saying that, the whole thing was just really special. You know, there is no favorite memory. I think every memory was special, because, you know, it was just an amazing project to be part of. You know, like everybody just came together and just did amazingly. You know, it was just lovely to work with people that I worked the previous year. It was lovely to get to meet, you know, and get to work with people that I didn't work before, and everybody just bonded really well. And I think that's just my favorite memory. It's just like everybody just bonded so well, and they became friends, and it's just like a family, and that's pretty special because, you know, like, not every show that you might do that happens. So it's just lovely that within Unbound that you can have that feeling that you just feel at home, and you feel that everybody just is there for the right reasons, just love it. You know, it's just like, and it's just everybody's just really friendly.